Welcome to Living the Single Life Show. I'm your host, Deborah Asbury. This is a show which addresses the issues, concerns, and highlights the excitement of living life as an adult Christian single. Today, our show is entitled, It's Worth the Wait. Now, I know we live in a society that's all about fast, I want it now. It's a microwave society. But I have a guest here who's going to share with us the benefits of waiting. She's done just that, and I want to encourage you to wait as well. Remember, it's worth the wait. Welcome back to It's Worth the Wait. I'm your host, Deborah Asbury, and again, we're talking about the topic of It's Worth the Wait, and this is the Living the Single Life show. I have with me a lady who has waited, and she's reaping the benefits of it right now. Her name is Jennifer Stovall Eichelberger. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Well, Jennifer, let me just say this. Now, you are an author, you're an evangelist, and now you are a wife.
And mother.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, that's a fourth title. Well, the wonderful thing about your story is it's just so beautiful and it's encouraging because as an adult Christian single, no one wants to wait. I mean, we want it now, we want it yesterday, actually. And share with us some of the things that you went through in the waiting process and, just some of the experiences because if I'm not mistaken, it was like a later stage in life.
Absolutely.
And I know you didn't give up hope on it, but talk with us a little bit about your experience.
Well, you're absolutely correct. One thing that as the world is get it now, get it now, get it now, but God's way, we have to wait on some things. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength.
Yes,
and I did wait, obviously. I was 54 when I got married.
And looking good.
Thank you. Thank you. But I waited on the Lord. I was specific about the things that I wanted in a relationship and things that my husband, prior to moving here, I used to work at an oil company. And, I'm one of those women. I had my own house, my own car, my own money, but still there was something missing in my life. And I wanted someone. But then anyway, I went through a transitional period and I ended up moving to Atlanta. Okay. And you just have to wait. I say, wait. Do not settle. Okay. And it was truly divine. I have to give God the glory for that, how I met my husband. Okay. Okay.
Well, before you get to that story, now, we had chatted a couple weeks ago, and let me just kind of share with everyone a little history about how we know each other. Okay. Because when I first met you, which was probably right at 3 years ago, you were single. We were both working at this television station, as a matter of fact. And you were not dating your now husband, right?
Absolutely.
And I know that you were busy doing a few other things. So, kind of talk to us about what you were doing before.
Okay, well, at the time that, about 3 years ago, I was my mother's home. I was taking care of my mom. I was her primary caregiver. Okay. But I went out to lunch with some friends, and I said, you know what, I'm ready to meet someone. And somebody made a statement. They said, listen, you're not going to meet anybody. You're home taking care of your mom. How are you going to meet somebody? That was July of 2010. And then a month later, I met my husband. But prior to that, again, it's all divine.
And by saying that, I mean, when you speak things, you spoke it into existence. It was like you said a prayer. So that's awesome. And a month later, you actually met your husband. Okay.
Because in the fullness of time, I was ready. God knew I was ready. And God knew my now husband was ready.
Now, how long have you been married now?
About a little over a year.
A little over a year?
Yeah,
wow.
November 2011.
And you look so happy. You know what? I know a lot of folks that have been married for 6 months and they are dreading it. And it's encouraging just to see the fact that it's been a year and a half and it seems like you have just been happy with him for a long time because I know when I talk to you, it seems like you guys have so much in common.
We do.
Now, your dating process was how long?
It was very short. We met in August of 2010. I got engaged about 4 or 5 months later and we got married. All this happened within a year.
Oh my
because
God.
when God puts something together, you don't have to date and date. Because when our first meeting, when we first met, we talked to each other as if we had known each other. It's like we were old friends getting reacquainted.
Right. Okay.
And even today, we get
Now,
up.
Jennifer, you said you were getting your oil change. Is that where you were when you met him?
Yes, and see, that's a whole nother story that's divine, but I'll share it with you to show how God works. Prior to that, I had a friend to fly here from Dallas, and I was showing her around Atlanta, and I said, oh, I got to get my oil change. I got to get my oil change, because we were going to go out of town for a mission trip and also to visit some relatives. We're both
tell you what.
Okay.
Hold that thought, because I don't want anyone to miss any of that story.
Okay.
And we just have a few minutes before break.
Okay.
But hold that thought.
All right.
We'll be right back, and we'll talk a little more about the fact that, okay, you went to change the oil. You were sitting there and you met your husband.
Yes.
Now that is a divine appointment. So we'll be right back in just a moment. So please stay with us.
Sugar Daddies, events by Lil Wayne, Wayne Webb Master Baker, 404-402-3056. Congratulations to Living the Single Life show with host Deborah Asbury on its first season. VitraGibsonMD.com, board-certified American Board of Plastic Surgery. Best wishes to Living the Single Life show with host Deborah Asbury on its first season. Larry and Doris Clegg. We pray that there will be many more seasons to come. Art and Atisha Davis wish Living the Single Life show with host Deborah Asbury all the best on its first season.
Dolls and Cars' mission is to teach godly principles while helping youth and serving people in the community. We do this by providing information about different occupations and allowing them to participate in a hands-on activity.
Welcome back to Living the Single Life show. And I'm your host, Deborah Asbury. Well, we are addressing the issues, concerns, and highlighting the excitement of living life as an adult Christian single. Well, we're talking about it's worth the wait. And I've been conversating with Jennifer Stovall Eichelberger, who has an awesome story of meeting her husband, marrying after the age of 50, and it's encouraging a whole lot of people. I just want to share with you just a few statistics. Over 50% of the American households are single, and there's about 51% of households that are, 51% of American households are single, and then 50% of American households are actually headed by a single person. So that's something important to know. So it encourages a lot of people, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that are over the age of 50 who are still, feeling like they're hopeless and there's no hope for them, but there's still time left. And again, Jennifer Eichelberger is here, and she's going to continue to share with you how she met the love of her life and what she has going on. Jennifer, go ahead. You can finish the story.
Finish the story.
Yeah.
Okay. We left off. We were going on a mission trip, and I didn't get an opportunity to get my oil changed. That's why this is key. This is important. I don't want you all to miss this, because God's timing is impeccable.
Right.
And so we went on our mission trip, and when I was up there, I went to visit some friends and family, and I called my sister back. I said, I'm going to stay another day. I'm going to stay over another day. She says, okay. When I came back, I said, I've got to get my oil changed.
Okay.
Okay. And I walked in that morning. I had on a baseball cap, a big old T-shirt, and I walked in and I sat down in this handsome man was sitting like 2 seats down from me, and he said, "Good morning, how are you?" And I said, "Fine, how are you doing?" And we just went from there. It's like we were talking, and we talked, and we talked.
Wow, the rest is history, in other words.
Yes.
Well, you know, the thing about that story is I've heard so many people say that's when I met my husband, when I was looking the worst.
Okay.
You know what, ladies? When you meet your man, when you're looking your worst, he's got something to look forward to, right?
And you look approachable sometimes when you have on a baseball cap.
Well, this is true.
Yeah.
I mean, because look at you today. Hey, that's what he has to look forward to. So I'm sure you guys will probably go out on a lovely date this evening, right? And you'll be able to keep what you have on.
Well,
no need in wasting it, right?
No need in wasting it.
You know what, Jennifer? I'm reminded of a conversation we had earlier. You were talking about, you know, how before you got married, going through the years, even in your 40s, someone had shared with you something about falling through the cracks.
Yes, I was on a business trip with some friends. Like I said, prior to moving to Atlanta, I used to work in D.C., and we were on a business trip.
Right.
And someone, you know, we said, "Well, why aren't you married?" And I said, "I don't know, I haven't met the right person." They says, "Well, you must have fallen through the cracks." And that stuck with me.
Yeah.
I said, "Falling through the cracks?" But, you know, I'm a different place spiritually and mentally now. But at that time, I said, well, maybe I did fall through the cracks. I don't know. Everybody around me pretty much is married.
Of course, we know now.
Like I said, that was 14, 15 years ago, and I'm at a different place. But
and the wonderful thing about that, too, is we're not on this world's system.
Right.
In other words,
that's key.
I read a book a number of years ago. As a matter of fact, it was by Tony Evans, the pastor Tony Evans, and it was about virtuous. The Portrait of a Godly Woman was the exact title of it. And he encouraged our women because regardless of how the statistics look, I mean, we hear about there's not any men out there. There's most of them are in prison or living alternate lifestyles, are just not interested in getting married. You know, they're players, that type of thing. But just in your situation, you went through a lot of things, but now you're happy. What really matters is what's going on right now.
That's what counts.
But the thing about you is not only are you happy right now, but you also had an opportunity to fulfill and accomplish quite a few things, right? Now, tell us about the books that you've written.
My first book is Answering the Call, Discovering Your Purpose. The second book is The Next Level. The Next Level? The Next Level. And I have a manuscript, which I'm going to submit really soon for my third book.
A third book?
Yes.
Now, what's the name of the third book?
What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do.
What to do? Okay. So talk to me a little bit about that. So what to do when you don't know what to do. Now, is this just kind of potpourri for any situation, or is it specific?
No,
for
actually,
a certain person?
it's I have it set up like A through Z, like B, it's been a while since I've been there. What is A? I can't think of A right now. But B is to think of the beauty and brokenness. Okay, from brokenness to beauty. C is celebrate yourself. D is dealing with distraction. It's set up like that, so it's not by chapter where you have to read chapter 1 to understand.
Like easy reading, too.
It is, and whatever you're going through, like if you're having a storm in your life, go to S for storms. So it's not like a book that you would sit down and read, you know, page 1 through 30 or something like that. So whatever you're going through, you know, if you're dealing with jealousy or whatever, feeling like a victim, go to V. So it's set up like that.
So it's self-help for personal things that you're going through.
Based on scripture.
All, that's what I was about to say, and it's all scriptural, spiritually based as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, you know, we've got a few more minutes left. I do want to talk with you about your hubby. And I know you brought some pictures along now of your wedding.
Of our wedding.
Yeah, so, you know, maybe we can take a look at a few of the pictures right now.
And let me throw this in also. My husband was very instrumental in helping me find my wedding dress. And we go back to another car dealership, not car dealership, a place where you can take to get your cars repaired. And he kept telling me, he said, Jennifer, you need to go to this place. And I'm thinking in my mind, a wedding shop beside a mechanic.
So, Jennifer, did he pick out your wedding gown?
No, he didn't pick out the wedding gown, but he picked out the place to go get it. But
when you purchased it
Yes, but listen.
I was about to say, I mean, I know we're not supposed to be superstitious, but you know, it's supposed to be
No, he didn't. He didn't pick out. He did place. But let me tell you, so finally I went by the place, and it is absolutely gorgeous. The place, I mean, it's elegant.
Awesome.
Yes, it's a beautiful place. But the beauty of it, the man, he owns the car shop and the lady, and so they just have it together. Because in my mind, you know, when you think of a wedding dress in a mechanic shop, you're like, huh?
No, that's just not a perfect combination
but let me
right
tell
there.
you have to see it, so.
But I was at your wedding, so I know you had a beautiful gown. So, I mean, that's all history. Well, you know what, when my turn comes, you're going to have to point out that shop to me.
I will, but I just wanted to throw that in because, see, that was a husband and wife team working, you know.
And speaking of a husband and wife team, you also had a cooking show, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. We're working on that and a lot of other things, and he has his own business and things, and I'm working with him on that, and we're writing a cookbook together, so we have a lot of things going, you know. It's just so many areas, and he's in television, because a lot of people are like, oh, you got in television because your husband. I said, no, I was affiliated.
Already in television. You were.
Yeah, more or less film. He's mostly in film and television and broadcasting and the whole thing. So see, it's just when you wait
a perfect combination.
on God, that's the key.
When you wait on God, you get the exact man for you.
Let me tell you. And it'll happen.
And I know it was a divine connection because I remember being at your wedding and you guys talking about your creativity and how you guys were going to kind of mesh, you know, what you do and what he does together, because you being an author and of course him being, now if I'm not mistaken, you said that he's worked with some of the greats that we all know, like what, Spike Lee is one.
Trained them.
The other? He taught them.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So we've got a lot to look forward to. I mean, life is only getting started with you.
It is.
And you've been married a year and a half now?
Yes.
Okay.
And everybody's like, what are the Eichelbergers up to now?
Wow.
Because we're known as the Eichelbergers. It's like, what are they up to now?
So ladies and gentlemen, as you see, you've got a lot to look forward to. Jennifer is 55 years old. She shared with us, and she looks awesome. So life is just beginning with her. So she's 55, but she's actually looking like 35. So isn't that a blessing? When you do things God's way, God's timing is not like our timing. We may think we should have been married 10 years ago, but hey, we may still be single, and here we are, 45, maybe even 50 or 55. But there's still hope, so continue to trust in God. Also, coming up next, we're going to be talking to a young lady who is, she's a, what do you call her? She's an etiquette expert. She's a life coach. And she's going to share with us some dating tips. So to encourage you all, after you get someone to date, you want to kind of know, what am I supposed to do? And Jennifer's also going to stay up here with us, and she's going to kind of, weigh in on some of the dating tips and probably lend a little bit from your experience so that we can all be set up for success as we are waiting, because it's definitely worth the wait.
It is.
Thank you, and stay with us.
All the best to Living the Single Life with Deborah Asbury on its first season, the Atlanta Dental team of Stone Mountain, Georgia. Many blessings to Living the Single Life show with host Deborah Asbury, GT Ajayi, CPA, PC of Riverdale, Georgia. Sugar Daddies, events by Lil Wayne, Wayne Webb Master Baker, 404-402-3056. Congratulations to Living the Single Life show with host Deborah Asbury on its first season. VitraGibsonMD.com, board certified American Board of Plastic Surgery. Best wishes to Living the Single Life show with host Deborah Asbury on its first season. Larry and Doris Clegg. We pray that there will be many more seasons to come. Art and Atisha Davis wish Living the Single Life show with host Deborah Asbury all the best on its first season.
Welcome back to Living the Single Life Show. I'm your host, Deborah Asbury. And again, we're talking about the subject of it's worth the wait. And now we have joining us on the couch is dating let me just say this, etiquette expert, also life coach Shery Graham. She's going to share with us some dating tips. Shery, welcome to the show. It's so good to see you.
Welcome. It's great to see you too.
You know what, Shery, I'm sure you heard the conversation between Jennifer and I.
Wonderful.
She's
Excellent.
waited. She met the man. She dated him. I mean, she's kind of pretty much coasting at this point. But we need some tips. Those of us who are still single, who are still waiting. As an adult, of course, it's a little different whenever you're living at home with your parents. And, you know, you got someone to kind of oversee you, supervise you, so to speak. But when you're out on your own, you kind of sometimes need to learn how to just date all over again. There was one young lady telling me a little while ago that it's been almost 12 years since she had a date. So you get the date. What do I do? What do I do, Shery?
First of all, you have to relax. You have to relax when you go out. Do something comfortable. Get yourself, whether it's praying or taking a bath, taking a walk, just relax.
Okay.
It's only a date. It's not a job interview.
Okay. And you know what? Some women kind of go at it as a job interview.
Well, you can't do that because it takes away the essence of the time together. It takes away from the real person.
Okay.
And just
from really enjoying it. It takes away the enjoyment. And let me just say this, not only ladies, but men too, because I've been on quite a few interviews myself. I call those, instead of dates, they're like interviews. But, you know, I guess there's probably an art to being able to kind of relax that person so that he can begin to basically, you know, conversate as opposed to interviewing you as well. Because, matter of fact, I had one of those that I shared with you a while back, remember?
Yes, and what you need to do is have a conversation that's flowing, just flowing. Don't take your ex to the date, because if you bring your ex to the date, he should have been there in the first place, or she should have been there. So leave that conversation at home.
Now, is that tip number 2?
That is tip number 2.
Okay, don't take your ex on the date with you.
Good point.
Very good point. Okay, and so continue on. These are great tips.
Arrive on time. Just arrive on time, because you want to respect that person. You want to respect the time of the person. And you want him or her to respect your time.
Well, this is
true. So arrive on time.
Okay, and you know what? When we get older, we kind of learn from experience. I remember probably in my early 20s, I had a blind date with a gentleman. And I got lost finding a place that I may have been about a half hour late getting there. I got there and he actually had left.
And he probably would not ever ask again.
Well, he ended up asking me out again. We went out a couple more times. But I have to tell you, because of the fact that he just kind of left me, and it was a time before cell phones, it made me feel a little, you know, kind of uncertain about him.
And things happened. And things do happen, so just allow him or her to call you and explain what happened.
Well, actually, he said he had waited for a little while, and I didn't show up, and he left.
Maybe he thought you weren't going to show up, too. Exactly. That's one way of looking at it.
Well, that's true. I understand exactly what you guys are saying, but keep in mind, I was about 24, 25 years old at the time, so it was a completely different mentality. And he was actually a little older. And so I just felt like maybe he was just impatient and just didn't want to wait. But we're going to go ahead and move along. So you've gone over tips. 1, relax. 2, don't take your ex on the date. What's 3?
Dress appropriately.
Okay.
Because when you're sent an invitation, when you get an invitation in the mail to an event, then you know what to expect from that event,
this is true.
From the invitation. But, however, your dress signals the same thing.
Okay.
Your dress. So you want to dress appropriately. Ask where you're going. Okay. And then dress appropriately to that.
That sounds good. What about saying, okay, so I'm wearing jeans. Are you going to wear jeans? It's kind of matching what they have
just
on.
ask where you are. If you're going to a 5-star restaurant, you know it's inappropriate to wear jeans.
Okay, so we've got a few more minutes left, and I know you have 10 tips, right? So where are we at with the tips? So we've gone through 3. So we're at number 4 now.
Do not text or use the phone on a date.
So in other words, we need to silence that phone or either leave it in the car.
Or leave it in the car only for emergency purposes.
Okay.
And then at that time, explain to your date that this is an emergency.
Okay. You know what? I agree with you on that, because there's nothing like being out at a restaurant and all of a sudden your person is just texting and texting.
It's just rude.
And yeah,
It's very rude.
Very rude. Now, I will say this. I've done it before, but it's only because I was working. So it was kind of like a working lunch break. And I said, please excuse me for a moment. I need to send, it was actually an email, it wasn't a text, but you know how you are with your Blackberries, kind of similar to texting.
Right, but as long as you explain that.
Okay, so that's 4, no texting. What's 5?
Don't be high maintenance. Don't say what I'm used to. I'm used to eating here. I'm used to going there. Because if you were, you would be there.
Okay.
So in other words, allow him to lead.
Allow the gentleman to lead.
Okay, and 6.
Who pays on the date? That is such an awkward place.
Yeah, in this day and time, it really is.
It really is, but etiquette states that the man pays, the gentleman pays for the first date.
Okay.
And then here's a consolation for the men. It's good if you go out on a date for the 4th time, then you offer to pay for the date.
I like that. So 7.
7, be polite. Just smile. Compliment one another. Compliment one another.
I think that's pretty easy to do. That's doable.
It is.
And we've got number 8. So
just don't rush the relationship.
Okay.
Do not rush the relationship.
Let it flow.
Let it flow.
Okay.
When you go out on a date, when he's walking in, don't think he's walking down the aisle to meet you to
and I know that's a
get married. Don't have all those ideas in your head about marriage and all of those things, or he's the one, she's the one.
It's kind of hard, but you're right. A lot of women do. I mean, they meet a man and they're already at the altar.
In other words, every man is not your husband.
Every man is not your husband.
And number 10, because we've got about 30 seconds left here.
Be well groomed.
Be well groomed.
Comb your hair.
Okay.
Nails.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense.
Shoes polished.
Okay.
Just be well groomed.
And that's for men and women. Be well groomed. Well, that pretty much wraps up the show for today. Again, what we're talking about is worth the wait. This is Living the Single Life. I'm your host, Deborah Asbury. I hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, let everything you do be done in love. Thank you for watching.